Everyone, something came to me last night regarding the Pope's visit, and I think it's something I should have realized earlier with my last video of him, but I really do believe he's activated a ritual, and I'm going to explain why I think that. And it has to do with ley lines that are running from New York, actually Bridgeport, up to this town that he went to in Nunavut. And it runs through Quebec City, which is also all tying into Jacques Cartier's first visit, and I want to get into all that. So this is the ley line known as the chakra ley line, and the fact that it's in the same, the ley line runs from Bridgeport to Quebec City, but the fact that it's in the exact same line that this town that he visited, and the name of the town and some of the references to the name of the town, I really think he's done a ritual. What the ritual is for, I don't know, but it is tying into the Venus pentagram, and I want to explain all that to you guys. I've been digging into the history of the missionaries, the French missionaries that came over that were converting the Indians. And you can look back at my last video, I was touching on all that when he came to visit. So the whole thing with the music between what the Europeans were believing was sacred, which was more to do with the Pythagorean um, theory of how everything is the music of the spheres, right? And this is all tying into string instruments, right? And that was the divine music of the gods in general, because of the planets and the music of the spheres. So they thought that when they heard the music from the natives and it was on drums and it was a dead animal skin across the drum, they saw it as demonic and that they needed to save these people. They thought they were worshiping Satan. Okay, so that's just a little segue onto the philosophy that was going on with the missionaries. But I found it really interesting that he was presented with a drum with a skin on it on his last day in Canada before he left back to Rome. So the name of the town is Iqaluit, and what I found really fascinating was that the translation to that is place of many fish. Now, the reason I find this fascinating is because the fish is the soul, right? In Pisces. Pisces rules the two fish. And I do believe that's your kind of your soul that has to join together, like your dark side of yourself and your light side of yourself. And it's like, or you could say it's the higher you and the lower you. And it has to do with fish, right? And because your soul is spelled Soul, and the soul of a fish is Sole. And it's to do with your feet, right? Because your feet have to be grounded into the earth to be able to take on the energies that are going to be coming through the planet. That's my belief system on why Pisces rules the feet. Now, this town is the northernmost populated town, like it's in the Arctic Circle. So it's hardly any population there at all. I think populated center is 6,991. Now here's the word magic to do with the fish. Now remember in my last video I had told you guys that in the article saying that he had mentioned the cardinal points, north, west, east, and south, right? So he'd mentioned that when he was at St. Anne's Lake out in the west. So here's word magic. Looks at the word news. Looks at the word news. It should be look at the word news. It's a nautical navigation term meaning north, east, west, and south. So we know that. Newscast is about casting a fishing line, another maritime term. A broadcast is a newscast, and it reaches a broader audience. A news anchor is another maritime term, a fabricated personality that anchors you to your media illusion. A TV channel is another maritime term. channeling your thoughts to where your controllers want you to go. The worldwide net is yet another maritime term. A news headline that gets your attention is called the hook. Just so you know, you're the fish, and the people organizing your thoughts to their benefit are the fishermen. So the fact that this town is called Plenty of Fish really got my, intuition like, oh, this is something big. And the fact that it's aligning to the ley line is like, I'm getting, really a sense that he's initiated something. Now, Bridgeport is the bottom of the chakra line. So, the Plenty of Fish, the Pisces should be at the feet. He's kind of done like it's catching the souls, right? He's catching them with his net. So again, he's visiting places where the conversion to Christianity is prominent, right? So this is all tying into Kateri Tekakwitha with her conversion and being, canonized and sainted. So, there's quite a prominent doctrine of Catholics in Nunavut, the whole area. And they're saying here there's 9,000 Catholics in 17 parishes. So, yeah. So it's basically he's just, saying like, look, we converted you and we're sorry what happened, but, thank you for supporting us and, still trusting our religion. So the Feast of Assumption, which falls on August 15th, this is the day when the Virgin Mary was assumed into heaven rather than dying a physical death. So, this is the Assumption of the Virgin is in the Lion's Gate. This is what I was fascinated by because this is the name of the church that was there. Okay, so the name of the church is there is, their main day, their feast day is August 15th, which is to do with the Lion's Gate. The Lion's Gate runs from August 8th to August 16th. I recently found that there's an actual Lion's Gate in Mycenae, Greece, and it has to do with worshiping Helios. I found it when I was doing research on Helios, the sun god, and this gate is, tying to him, his worship. So this gate, the Lion's Gate is worshiping the sun, of course, because it's going into Leo, right? It's going from Cancer to Leo, but it's more to do with the two pillars. The two pillars are that were in New York City, the Twin Towers. It's always the twins are Apollo, which is also a sun god, and Artemis, she's the moon goddess. She's the goddess of the hunt in the moonlight, right? She hunts in the moonlight, and torches and lanterns are all part of her symbolism. So the twins are always Artemis and Apollo, but Helios is also the sun god, okay, an older sun god. So anyhow, this Lion's Gate is worshiping Helios. And in antiquity, Leo was representing the summer solstice. And then as time progressed, it went into Cancer, and that's why they call it the Tropic of Cancer on the summer solstice. But actually, when the sun is on the summer solstice now, it's in Taurus. This is showing an image at Gnosis, was depicting a goddess flanked by two lionesses. So the Lion's Gate looks like it's missing the goddess on top. Here's the other artwork where she's flanked by two lions. So it's really the divine feminine, right? So that's the Lion's Gate is referencing, and that's why the Virgin Mary Assumption Day is happening at the Lion's Gate. Obviously, it has to be that. So many other pieces of the Mycenaean artwork share the same basic motif of the two opposed animals separated by a vertical divider, such as two lambs facing a column or two sphinxes facing a secured tree representing a deity. And the divine feminine is always relating to the pentagram, right? Because Venus makes the pentagram every 8 years. She makes 5 points and makes the pentagram when she conjuncts the sun. Okay, so next year on August 13th, during the Lion's Gate, in Leo, we have the final Venus point that's completing the last pentagram. And then the next pentagram starts right after Pi Day in 2025, which is really relevant because it's 322. And you guys know that 223 is all tying into the original equation for pi. And we see the 322 number around everywhere. It's Skull and Bones, and I have other references of it being used recently, so I'll show you that as well. So I'm just finding this really fascinating. So it's not next year's Lionsgate is really relevant. So I don't know what he's activating, but I just want to show you how this is all lining to Venus. August 8th, which is the first day of the Lion's Gate, is the emancipation for the end of slavery in the United States. 2022 celebration with the theme Year of Man. You can check out this channel, Decoding Our Reality. He's just talking about the IPEC goat and doing a lot of numerology that's all relating to the number 322. Which keeps popping up everywhere, Skull and Bones, and we know that it's tying to pi. But what I wanted to mention was what he mentioned was that August 11th, which is the full moon, is the 223rd day of the year. Now, I have my reasons why I believe this is all tying into the Pleiades. Okay, the Pleiades is really relevant. Okay, so there's different reasons why, but one of the reasons is because my wedding song was Hallelujah Song and Leonard Cohen's song, and he wrote the book about Kateri Tekakwitha, and then he's also buried in Montreal, and he was a Mason. Okay, and that Hallelujah Song, which is really sacred. The whole wording hallelujah has to do with the sound when you say it. You're evoking God, okay? And that Pythagoras had mentioned that. And this whole thing about Leonard Cohen, in that lyrics of that song, he mentions the Pleiades and the Seven Sisters. The Mayan calendar, I've been trying to figure it out for years, and this article kind of, made me understand what the importance of the Venus pentagrams, because it's tying into when the Pleiades are at its highest zenith in the sky. Okay, so they're talking about the zenith of the Pleiades at midnight. So the Aztec calendar, the 52-year cycle was said to begin when the Pleiades crossed the fifth cardinal point, or the zenith of the heaven at midnight. Sometimes not only is the Pleiades in its zenith over Mesoamerica, but their alignments also comes into full conjunction with the sun, as we will see again in the 21st century. In addition, 252 years, 104 years, coordinate with the future alignment with Venus. Now, why is that? Is because it divides by 8. Okay, so there's 13 pentagrams in 104 years. But the 52 years I find interesting, okay, because I went and mapped it out on the pentagrams, and I'll show you. So here, the November 22nd in 1930, that was a conjunction, an inferior conjunction with Venus, okay, and the sun. So what I find interesting is that it's November 22nd, and that is JFK's death, right? That's when he was murdered. So we can go 52 years from that date okay, 52 years from that date, um, brings it from his death date, brings it to 2025. Okay, so he, which is the beginning of the next pentagram. Okay, so and it's the fact that the pentagram starting at 322 is kind of like, whoa, March 22nd. So there's that. Okay, so all I'm saying is that um, his death date is tying to this pentagram. Like, even though it didn't happen in 1963, it wasn't that year that it was on November 22nd. It was November 13th. So we have the 1311. So it's kind of like 33 on 1962. It was the following year that he was murdered. But the fact that his murder date is exactly 52 years to the next pentagram. Okay, so you understand what I'm saying? It's like it's tying into the Mayan calendar. And so this kind of popped out at me, this 1930 year. So I did the numerology on that. So if you take November 22nd, 1930, when we had a Venus conjunction on November 22nd, and then we take it to the beginning of the next pentagram, which is March 22nd, the 322 in 2025. We get 94 years and 4 months. Now, 99 times 44 actually comes to 396, which Tesla said is the key to the universe. And we also have 1,132 months. And if you divide 11 into 32, you get the sacred number of New York, which is 2.9, which is basically 11, 9, 9/11, reversed. And the reason that I think it's all tied into the Pope's ritual with when he went to this town on this Leyline that aligns to New York and Quebec City, that this pentagram in March 22nd, 2025, the beginning of this pentagram is starting on the fish. It's in Pisces, the right-hand fish, which is the fish of Christ, on the tail of the whale, right? And it's on that crown, that circlet of Pisces, which is the right-hand fish, is shaped like a pentagon. Okay, so I'm just kind of like, whoa, this is getting crazy. And I noticed when this pentagram starts, the moon is in the Golden Gate. It's not a full moon, it's like a half moon, but it is in the Golden Gate at the same time. So it's really sacred. What's happening in 2025, in the spring of 2025, is just mind-blowing. What's happening in the sky with the blood moon on Zavi Java at 322 as well, on Pi Day, which is March 14th, and then this happening on the 22nd. It's like, it's just crazy. And I think they're referencing this time all the time. Yeah, so Venus and the son of God, is sitting on the back of Pegasus, which is like can be the white horse on wings, right? That's when this Venus point is happening. So it's just like, whoa, I'm sure that this Venus point is super relevant to what's happening on this planet right now. And, just that it's referencing Jesus. And you have to remember in Egyptian mythology, Osiris is like the Sun King, right? He's the Lion King. And he's in conjunction with that Venus pentagram. Okay, the Osiris is there as well. So it's like, whoa. So you got the Sun, Venus, which is love, Osiris, Neptune's there. It's like, it's a big party with the god of the golden age, Cronus. He's there too. Now, if I put the time at midnight on 322 in 2025, the Lion's Gate is right at the top of the zenith. Okay, so right at midnight. It's important at midnight because they're talking about the Pleiades being at midnight. Okay, so with the Mayan calendar. So on the helical rising, we have Libra, which is justice, Venus, and then we have Venus on the other side, on the descendant with Taurus and Pleiades and Uranus there, and Jupiter is in between the horns of Taurus, which is the silver gate of Isis, again the divine feminine, and Mars is on the Pollux twin, which is the ascended twin, okay, which is it's the immortal twin is where Mars is. So it's pretty intense. So it's interesting to look at midnight now and seeing what's up in the sky on the zenith. Now, what is really mind-blowing is when I took it from Eastern Standard Time, so Montreal time, New York time, and you go at midnight, the Pleiades are at the zenith only on November 22nd, the day that they murdered JFK. Okay, so I'm just like, whoa, this is so like tying into everything, right? It's tying into his death, it's tying into the USA, pentagram star that's on the flag. It's tying into everything. It's tying into 9/11 because of the Leyline where he went. So it's really a huge activation. So, I'm just not sure what it's all supposed to mean or what's going to happen, but I'm just saying that they're definitely activated something. On November 22nd of this year, we have Mars in the Silver Gate. Okay, and Uranus is still in Aries, but he's going to get into Taurus. In 2025, he'll be into Taurus. Jupiter is on the tail of the whale this year. And if you really look at it, what's happening at midnight, you see the cardinal points there, which he referenced, right? When on his trip, he referenced the cardinal points. So he wants us to look at the cardinal points. So that would be, the equator. But I put an arrow. I couldn't get it all on the screenshot. But, if Taurus is there, Leo's to the left at the east. Aquarius is, at the west. So the northern point, or would be kind of towards the northern point, is Taurus, right? And then we also have down the northern point would be Scorpio. So northern point would be Scorpio, which is, the house of transformation. It's death and everything. So this is where the Jesus sits. He sits in these four fixed cross symbols. Okay, it's the fixed cross. Well, you always see him. He's in this Vesica Pisces. He always sits with these four cardinal points. Okay, so they're the beast. They're the four beasts. So I'm just like, whoa, this is getting crazy. So every November 22nd on the East Coast, Eastern Standard Time, the Pleiades at midnight are at the zenith point. I just want to show you, like at January 22nd, for instance, you can see the Pleiades are no longer at the top of the arc, right? It's Gemini at the top. So you can see it's only on November 22nd that they're like right at the top. The Lion Gates open tomorrow on August 8th, but August 11th, we have a super moon, a full sturgeon supermoon. Well, what's a sturgeon moon? It's a fish. Okay, so we're back to the fish again with this full moon, and it's a supermoon. It's the last one of this year. Okay, and it's happening in conjunction with Saturn in Saturn's house of Capricorn. The significance of Saturn and the moon conjunction is important because Saturn is ruling Capricorn, right, and Aquarius, but he rules Capricorn with the key. Okay, so Capricorn holds the key. In Capricorn, the Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn are the winter and summer solstice, right? So Cancer is ruled by the moon, and Saturn rules the winter solstice, and the moon rules the summer solstice. This is back in antiquity. Okay, so it's really important because you have to understand they rule the feminine axis of the cardinal cross, Cancer and Capricorn. It's feminine. Again, it's feminine. Okay, so there's some mythology that actually Capricorn is the she devil. Okay, because they always say, the devil card rules Capricorn in the tarot. So it is the devil, but they say it's the she devil. Okay, so it's because it's feminine, right? Capricorn is feminine. So we always think of him as being Cronus, and he's like the father time, which he is as well. But he does have a feminine aspect to him because he's ruled by the feminine. It's all to do with the sun. The solstices are to do with the sun because the winter solstice is when the sun is dying. So it's basically Osiris dying and also Jesus dying. It's like when the sun dies, it's in the winter solstice, and it gets reborn, resurrects in the summer solstice. Okay, so it's always to do about the sun. So Hyperion, which was a Titan, one of the moons of Saturn is named Hyperion. Okay, and is named after the god. Saturn itself is named after Hyperion's brother, Cronus. Okay, so Saturn is Cronus. He had a brother, Hyperion, and that's one of his moons. Now, Hyperion is the father of Helios, the sun. So just the fact that they called one of Saturn's moon Hyperion, and it's all tying into Helios, they're telling you that it's about the sun, right? It's about the sun. The winter solstice is about the sun. The summer solstice is about the sun. This is what it's all about. Okay, so it's all to do with light and dark, right? So Hyperion and Helios were both sun gods. In earlier sources, sometimes the two were considered to be distinct, with Hyperion being the father of Helios, but sometimes they were apparently identified with Hyperion being simply a title of or another name for Helios himself. Hyperion is Helios's father in Homer's Odyssey. Okay, so see how the names get kind of blended together. And then they're also saying, the Homeric hymn to Apollo. Apollo is also the sun. I explained that before. He's the twin, okay, with Artemis. So when you look at Gemini, you could say it's Apollo and Artemis because originally it was a female and a male. But they if you look in the sky, they picked up the artwork. They have one in a skirt and one in pants. But they say it's two males now. But anyhow, it's just interesting. So Hyperion is the bright sun in the literature. He's the bright sun. Okay, so Saturn, when they say Saturn is the black sun, it's because there's referencing Saturn. It is to do with the sun because he's the dying sun in the winter. So he is the black sun. He's the dark sun. He's going dark. And here they're explaining how Hyperion was the first person to understand the movement of the sun and the moon and their effect on the seasons, and explains that because of this, he was said to be their father. Okay, so again, he's understanding the sun and the moon, and this is what we have. We have a sun and a moon conjunction in a way because of the Hyperion moon in Saturn. Okay, so it's crazy. It's like this Sturgeon super moon is going to be important, and it is relating to fish, the souls. They have the super moon marked down here for August 11th at 9:36 p.m. But there's other depictions saying it's happening on August 12th. But I really do believe it's happening on August 11th. And this is depicting that there's the Perseid meteor shower on August 13th. And then August 14th, we have Saturn is the closest to Earth for the year of 2022. So we have a moon activation, and then Saturn is the closest. So the devil is the closest to the Earth. Okay, all during the Lion's Gate. you could also say Father Time and the god of the Golden Age is going to be closest to the Earth. So let's put it on that it's something positive that's going to be happening, and put energy. And I think if we're watching, I have this belief that if we're watching, kind of like we're all like the eye of God, and we're watching and we see what's happening, that somehow we weaken the power of the spell. Okay, it's like, because when you can see something, you can change it, right? It's like that experiment when you look at something, it actually changes its position. So I think like when you notice something, you have an effect on it. So that's why I always put this stuff together when I see that there's something relevant happening, because I think we can diffuse it. The moon moves fast in the sky, so on August 14th, when the meteor showers are happening, the moon is in conjunction with Neptune. And that's really esoteric, because Neptune and the moon have a relationship with esoteric astrology. So that's really cool. And that's all to do with metaphysics and your emotions and remembering who you are and your past lives and being able to see through the veil and all that. So that's a really positive placement that's happening on August 14th. And what else we have here? We have, yeah, the next day, the moon conjuncts Jupiter, and Chiron is right there as well. And then I just wanted to show you guys on August 15th how the sun is in the mouth of the lion. And this ties to the infinity symbol. It also ties to theta, brainwaves. It's like the balancing of your brain is that tarot card. Um, and, the whole finding your inner strength, right? So the sun is in the mouth of the lion, the strength card. And of course, the most amazing placement is Osiris and Venus, the divine feminine with the king, the sun king, on the manger of Christ, which is the beehive cluster on the back of Cancer. And the mantra of the strength card is you can handle every situation with maturity without making a haste. Believe in your inner strength when facing a challenge. So that's it. We got to find the strength, and we got to face the challenge of them not controlling this reality that we are. So if you just have to believe that you have the power to bring the good into this world, and we will. And I do believe it comes from our thoughts. So anyhow, it's interesting what is going on in the sky and where he was, and I think there's relevance to what he's trying to activate there. But I think we can change it by just believing that the golden age is coming, and believe the good side. Everything is duality, so let's just focus on the good of the placement that's in the sky, and don't go into fear and concern, because that's just bringing more negativity into the planet. We just have to kind of go, oh, we see it, and okay, this is what it means to me, and I'm going to manifest that. If you're interested in learning more about astrotheology, I just finished a class, and it will be posted under lesson 4, which was all the astrotheology and mythology of the planets. And the second part of the class will be the astrotheology of the constellations. And so it's like a double class for one payment, just to get all the astrotheology is, there's a lot to it. So it was really long, so I wanted to split it in 2. And then the following class after that, so that will be in about 3 weeks, we'll do a class on how to work stellarium. So keep an eye on the classes. I will announce them before I do them a few days before, to let you know what's happening, and that the date that it's going to be and the time. So I appreciate you guys supporting my online school, and don't forget, I'm still doing readings. So if you want a reading, don't be shy, and send me an email. Take care. Bye.